He slammed the pen on the counter and said, "Sign it, Julia. You owe this family that much." Everyone in the bank was staring, my father's voice echoing like a slap. My hands trembled, but not from fear, from rage. Because he didn't know what I'd hidden in that file. Something that would flip his world upside down in minutes. Before we go on, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you love stories where karma hits hard. Because trust me, this one's going to blow your mind. He leaned closer, whispering, "Stop pretending you're smart. Julia, you're nothing without us." My mother crossed her arms, wearing that smug smile that made me feel 12 again, small, helpless, invisible. But not today. I glanced at the bank manager, Mr. Collins, who looked confused by the tension. My father pushed the papers forward, forcing a fake laugh. "She's just being dramatic. Go ahead, Julia, sign. She's transferring the property to my name." The silence was thick. The air smelled like cold ink and betrayal. My pulse hammered as I looked at my father. The same man who kicked me out 3 years ago when I refused to give him control of my small tech startup. He had called me useless and told everyone I'd fail. Now that startup was worth millions and he still didn't know. I took the pen, pretending to obey. His eyes glimmered with victory. But just as the tip touched the paper, Mr. Collins frowned. He flipped the last page and paused. "Wait," he said slowly, his voice tightening. "What's this note?" My father's smile vanished. I held my breath, watching his face change color as the manager pulled out a folded slip hidden between the pages, the one I'd left there for him to find. And when Mr. Collins read the first line aloud, my father's world began to crumble. Mr. Collins's voice cut through the air. "To whoever reviews this document, please verify the legal ownership of the property under Julia Monroe LLC, not under Richard Monroe." The words hit like thunder. My father froze. His confident smirk cracked as every head in the bank turned toward him. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes, the kind he used to enjoy seeing in mine. "What is this nonsense?" he stammered, trying to laugh it off. "She doesn't own anything. It's a mistake." But the manager shook his head. "Actually, Mr. Monroe, it's not. This property is registered under Julia's company. She's the legal owner." My father's jaw tightened. He looked at me, eyes burning. "You think you're clever? You're trying to embarrass me in public?" I leaned in, my voice calm but sharp. "No, Dad. You did that yourself when you tried to steal from me." He slammed his fist on the counter, shouting, "You're nothing without me! Everything you have came from my name." The entire bank had gone silent now. Even the tellers stopped typing. Mr. Collins cleared his throat and said firmly, "Sir, please lower your voice. We don't tolerate this behavior here." My father's face turned red. He reached for the papers, but Mr. Collins pulled them back. "These documents are invalid now," he said. "The transfer can't proceed." I could see my mother shifting nervously beside him. "Richard, let's just go," she whispered. But he wouldn't. His pride wouldn't let him. I looked straight into his eyes and said softly, "You should have believed in me when you had the chance." For a moment, he just stared. The same man who once mocked my dreams, now standing speechless in front of strangers. But I wasn't done yet. Because what he didn't know was that the note wasn't the only surprise I'd left behind. The moment my father turned to leave, Mr. Collins cleared his throat again. "Actually, there's something else," he said, adjusting his glasses. "Julia, this letter was attached to your file too, the one from the Board of Monroe Technologies." My father froze mid-step. His voice cracked. "The what?" Mr. Collins unfolded the letter, reading it out loud. "Effective immediately, the ownership and all assets of Monroe Technologies belong solely to Ms. Julia Monroe. All prior claims, including those of family members, are legally void." The color drained from my father's face. He stumbled slightly, gripping the counter. That company was mine. I started it." I took a deep breath, letting years of buried pain harden my voice. "You didn't start it, Dad. You just stole the idea I built in my college dorm. You fired me, remember? Told everyone your daughter couldn't handle real business." Whispers rippled through the bank. People recognizing the name Monroe Technologies. The successful AI company that had recently signed a government contract. My father's hands shook. You can't do this to me. I smiled, slow and steady. I already did. That letter's been waiting here since last week, just in case you tried something like this. My mother stepped closer, her tone suddenly soft. Julia, sweetheart, you're misunderstanding. We were just trying to help manage. I cut her off. You were trying to erase me, but now? I'm the CEO. You both work for me, technically. Their faces dropped in unison. Shock, disbelief, and the first flicker of regret. I could almost hear the audience in my head holding their breath as if the universe had flipped. Mr. Collins looked between us and said quietly, "Is there anything else you'd like to add, Ms. Monroe?" "Oh, there's one last thing," I said, pulling out my phone. "Check the last email I sent you this morning, Mr. Collins. It's marked Final Notice." His eyes widened as he opened it, and when he read it, his head snapped up. "Miss Monroe," he said slowly, "you want to proceed with closing their accounts?" My father's eyes widened. "What accounts?" I turned to him, my voice calm but cutting through the silence. "The joint accounts. The ones under my company's funding line. You've been living off my money for the last 2 years." He took a step back, speechless. And just then, the security guard walked up behind him saying, "Sir, the manager's request. Please step aside." The entire bank was watching now. I didn't flinch. I just smiled, because this time, he was the one standing on the edge of humiliation, not me. My father's voice cracked, trembling between anger and disbelief. "Julia, you can't humiliate your own family like this. You're doing this for attention, aren't you?" The guard stood close, waiting for Mr. Collins's nod. The entire bank was still. No one even dared to move. I could hear my own heartbeat echoing in my ears. Slowly, I turned toward him, meeting his desperate eyes. "For attention?" I repeated, my tone sharp. "You took my savings when I was 19. You sold my laptop to pay off your gambling debts. You told me my dreams were cute until they made real money. So no, Dad, this isn't for attention. This is called accountability." A tense silence followed. My mother tried to reach for my arm. "Julia, he didn't mean to. I pulled away. He always means it. Every insult, every betrayal, every time you both laughed at me for working late nights while you called me a failure." My throat burned, but I didn't let it show. Now the tables have turned and suddenly I'm the villain? Mr. Collins stepped forward carefully. "Miss Monroe, the email has been verified. Would you like to proceed with the fund freeze?" I nodded once. "Freeze it all. Every cent that came from my company's investment accounts." My father's voice rose. "You can't do that. That's our money." I met his glare with calm defiance. "My money. You just wore it like a mask." The guard gently gestured for him to step aside as whispers spread through the bank. People were recording now, phones pointed, curiosity burning. My father, once the man who boasted about his wealth and power, now looked small. His pride stripped away in front of strangers. My mother clutched her purse, trembling. "Julia, please. Think about what people will say. We're still your parents." I turned slowly to her. "Parents protect their kids. You two only protected your image. You'd rather see me broken than successful without you." Mr. Collins cleared his throat again. "There's also a final clause in your company's file, Julia," he said, scanning the documents. "It states that upon confirmation of ownership, all prior trustees will be removed permanently. That includes Mr. and Mrs. Monroe." My father's face went pale. "Removed? You're firing us?" I didn't blink. "You fired me first. I'm just finishing what you started." He tried to laugh, a broken, bitter sound. "You think this power will make you happy? You'll end up alone, Julia, just like your mother warned you." I looked him dead in the eye. "Maybe, but I'd rather be alone than controlled." For a moment, no one spoke. Even the guard seemed frozen in disbelief. Then, as if fate wanted to stamp the moment, a notification chimed on my phone. A bank alert. Mr. Collins' monitor flashed at the same time. He looked up, surprised. "Ma'am, your main company account just received a transfer of $12 million. Gasps rippled through the lobby. My father's mouth fell open. 12? What? I smiled faintly. "That's the government contract I told you I'd never get." He took a slow step backward, his voice breaking. You lied to us? No, I said softly. I just stopped telling you everything. For the first time in years, I felt the weight lift off my chest. Every insult, every night I cried in silence, every word he used to crush me. It was all worth it for this moment. I picked up my bag, turned to Mr. Collins and said, "Thank you. That'll be all?" Then I walked past my father, still frozen, still shocked, and whispered just loud enough for him to hear, "Next time you try to take something from me, make sure it's yours to begin with." He didn't respond. He couldn't. Because in that moment he realized the truth. His power was gone, and his daughter, the one he called useless, now owned everything. I stepped outside the bank into the bright sunlight, feeling the wind hit my face. For the first time, I wasn't running from my past. I was walking straight through it. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Because revenge, once started, doesn't end quietly. The sunlight felt warm against my skin, but inside my heart was pounding, not from fear, but from release. Years of humiliation, doubt, and manipulation had just collapsed behind me like a dying storm. I looked at the glass doors of the bank reflecting my father inside, shoulders slumped, pride shattered, and I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. As I walked toward my car, my phone buzzed. A message flashed across the screen. Dad transferred all company documents to his lawyer before the meeting. Thought you should know. Mark, legal advisor. For a second, I froze. My father's downfall wasn't over yet. He had tried to play one final game behind my back. I turned, glancing through the glass doors. He was still arguing with the manager, red-faced and desperate. My lips curved into a small smile. "You never learn, do you?" I whispered. I opened my laptop in the car, connected to the secure system, and within seconds saw the file he'd tried to move. Ownership to transfer pre-draft. It was already locked. My encryption team had frozen it automatically. Just as I'd planned, I hit a button labeled Notify Legal. A notification popped up, unauthorized document access reported. Inside the bank, I saw my father's phone vibrate. He looked at it, and for a moment his entire face changed. He realized what I'd done, what I had always been capable of. He looked out the window straight at me. Our eyes met through the glass, his filled with rage and disbelief, mine calm and final. I mouthed one word, checkmate. Then I started the car. My mother ran after me, shouting my name, but I didn't stop. For once, I didn't owe them an explanation. As the city lights blurred past me, I thought of all the nights I spent crying over their cruelty, all the mornings I woke up determined to prove them wrong. And now I finally had, not just with money, but with power, control, and dignity. In that silence, I realized revenge isn't about destroying others. It's about reclaiming the pieces they stole from you. A notification pinged again, an email from the company board. Subject, official confirmation, Monroe Technologies, CEO, Julia Monroe. Congratulations. Julia, you've set a new record. The board is proud of your leadership and resilience. I smiled, tears forming in my eyes. For the first time, I wasn't the scared daughter or the underestimated girl. I was the woman who turned her pain into power. And somewhere behind me, in that cold bank lobby, my father finally learned what true loss feels like. Not losing money or status, but losing the one person who would have saved him if he had just believed in her. As I drove off into the distance, I whispered to myself, not with anger, but peace. Never underestimate the quiet ones. They're just waiting for the perfect moment to rise.